Welcome to the Build Your World-Class Brand Online Global Virtual Summit, featuring insights and stories from leading experts from around the world on how to make a bigger impact, sell your services online, and create an international lifestyle. Hi, I'm Hannah Fitz, international brand strategist and business coach at the Brand Atelier at hannahfitz.com, where I help extraordinary, passion-driven women just like you turn your expertise and powerful personal story into a world-class brand so you can stand out and live the cultured life. Today, I am so thrilled to have my mastermind partner, soul sister, friend, and also a business bestie, Darieth Chisolm, who is a multimedia strategist with more than 25 years experience in television, online media, and entrepreneurship. She is an Emmy Award-winning television personality, former NBC News Anchor, entrepreneur, author, speaker, life and business coach, who is a workshop expert. As a leading visibility coach, Darieth is known throughout the United States as a seasoned speaker, author, and go-to expert in personal development and success strategies for entrepreneurs who are looking to gain clarity, visibility, and create strategic action plans that get results with a professional brand. She is the author of Hustle, Why Now is the Time to Unleash Your Passion, and has been recognized as one of the top 10 trailblazers in communications by Walker's Legacy, and was nominated as Entrepreneur of the Year in Style Week in Pittsburgh. Her highly acclaimed YouTube channel and online video podcast series, Hustle and Heart TV, was a top 10 finalist for the 2015 Podcast Awards for Best Video Podcast, and was ranked #1 on iTunes for more than 2 months with subscribers and viewers across multiple countries. Most recently, she was the recipient of a Shiro Award from She Speaks Global. Darieth, welcome to the Build a World-Class Brand Summit. And I know we have to celebrate one more time because you just got some phenomenal news. So share it with us.
Yay! Literally just hot off the presses. Thank you, Hannah, first off, for having me on your show and on this beautiful summit. But yes, I was just nominated for another Emmy, which I'm very excited about. And this is for interview and discussion series.
Yes.
A very beautiful program that I'm very blessed to host and have been hosting for many years on education for children.
Yes.
Through PBS, IQ Smart Parents. So yes, I'm very excited about that. Thank you.
Amazing. I'm so thrilled. I mean, this is your 3rd Emmy nomination.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yep. And I have one Emmy that is, I'm blessed to hold, and they're heavy, by the way, if you've never had them.
Can we see it one more time so we can bask in the energy of the Emmy? Hopefully,
Sure,
call it in.
absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful. Darieth, I mean, you are a phenomenal woman, a model for many women everywhere. And I'm really excited to share your journey, share your story. And I know you have a new movement that you're very passionate about, and you're going to be telling us a little bit more about that. But for many years, you were a news anchor on WPXI in Pittsburgh, and you left this successful career of recognition. And I still remember that night in Maui when we went to dinner, and the manager was actually a fan of yours. She grew up watching you on television. And so you left all of that behind to pursue your dream, your entrepreneurial path. Can you tell us about your journey and what was that like for you, making the transition of living this spotlight where you're the TV star every night to following your heart?
And that was exactly it. I was following my heart. I made that decision. Wow, it's been 4 years now to leave a very successful television news career to spend more time with my son, who was going into his senior year of high school. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I just could not sacrifice. I was working from 3 to 11. I had a couple of businesses that I was running. I was spending a lot of time away from him. And, you know, as his senior year approached, and the thought of him going off to college and me not spending as much time with him, really was a pain in my heart. And I wanted so very much to at least spend as much time with him as I could. So I made the very brave decision to quit, to walk away from a very significant six-figure career as a television news anchor, to pursue my passions of building the businesses that I had at the time, which happened to be an aerial fitness studio. And I was involved in a network marketing company. And as I poured most of my energy into those, really getting them to a point where financially I could afford to make the jump, I did so in September of that year. And I'm really proud to say that my son now is a senior in college.
Wow.
So time really does fly. But in those 4 years, lot of changes have happened. Also, at the same time as studying to become a certified life and business coach, and now primarily I spend a great deal of time coaching other clients really on how to be more visible in business through media, through online and offline marketing strategies. And it's really allowed me the opportunity to partner with a number of tremendous professionals, whether I'm speaking with them or promoting my book or working side by side with them. So it's been a beautiful journey.
Amazing. And so what have been some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome, following your heart's desire and really taking that leap?
Well, a few things. One is truly trusting yourself and trusting that when you have an intuitive hit and you feel like this is what I am here to do, this is what I'm called to do, to truly following it. Oftentimes the answers don't fall into place immediately, but the desire is there. And I believe each time that comes up, it gives us the opportunity to step more fully into who it is that we are choosing to become. And through any business, there's always stages of that. I don't care if you've got a tire business,
yes,
manufacturing tires, or if in fact you're building something like a coaching business. There are stages of evolution, and each of those come with a great deal of stretching, if you will, when you want to move to the next level. And so I think that some of the biggest challenges personally that I've had to face is really preparing myself for that next level.
Yeah.
As you're aware, I'm really at the point of, and so excited to say that launching perhaps what is now my biggest project to date, and that is a project called 50 Shades of Silence. It's a global movement to give voice and dignity to victims of cyber harassment and online crimes. And this project alone has allowed me to really test what it means to be visible and to be heard when you really want to be silent and you really want to hide. This, as you're well aware of, comes at a time where I myself am facing several legal cases involving what we call cyber rape or cyber harassment, after an ex-boyfriend put up a website with naked photos and videos of me that he had taken while I was sleeping, while I was living with him in Jamaica. And I cannot tell you how incredibly shameful and humiliating and painful that the last 8 months have been, literally, in that you really just want to pull the covers over your head and not focus. And for me, I instead of crumbling and remaining on the floor, which I spent many nights crying and feeling very helpless, I decided to launch 50 Shades of Silence. And so that has been my biggest challenge today.
Yeah, I mean, Darieth, I'm getting chills as you're saying this, because I know that whether it's cyber rape or any form of shaming, there are many women out there who are just afraid that somebody's going to bring up something from their past that they don't want anyone else to see. They would prefer others not to see. And so how do you really move past that fear? How do you come to the point of knowing that this isn't meant to break you, but it's meant to empower you?
Really in asking, I had to ask so for me, it was about processing a few different things. One was, is this happening to me or is this happening for me? And to me was leaving me very much in the victim feeling. I felt very in inept at figuring out what steps to do next, I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't want to share this with anyone. And it allowed him to continue with these threats, because he had threatened my life, but also continue to put out more photos and videos, which clearly are very shaming and embarrassing. But it was this feeling of there's nothing I can do about this, and really begging him to stop. And then when I realized that I can stand up to this, and I can ask for support and go to the right authorities, and without this sense of feeling ashamed or embarrassed, move through this with this sense of this could be happening for me.
Yes.
And how can I turn this around and use this as a way not only to fight back, but to become stronger and to lend a voice to the silence that surrounds this. And when I turned that around and looked at that, life changed for me. I also asked myself this question, and that is, who do I need to become to handle this? Who is it that I need to become in order to find the strength and find the clarity and feel capable of not only fighting this through the legal system, but getting in front of this? And when I started asking myself that, and as you're well aware, decided to just release the shame and let go of anything, because I was not responsible for this. This was his behavior, of which I was not going to take on as my own. It released me from feeling so trapped and so isolated, and allowed me the freedom to begin looking for answers and looking for support.
Amazing, amazing. And so I love what you say about, is this happening to me or for me? Because we can quickly slip into that victim mode and hide, which is what would be sort of the first instinct. But you have really found a platform through that. And so it really shows an example for other women that your mess can become your message. It can become a significant part of how you're going to change and impact the world.
I chose to use everything that I had within me and that I've ever created to fight back with this, and not fight in the sense that I want to be tied to the legal system, because quite frankly, what I'm finding out is that our legal system here in the United States is archaic when it comes to fighting cyber harassment, cyberbullying. It's just not in place. And so what I said then is that give voice to other victims, help them discover ways to be supported, to restore their dignity and their respect. And at that point is when I knew that I could take what I know best, which is video, which is speaking, which is writing, and use those tools, those talents, to not only give myself voice in this, but to support other people. So 50 Shades of Silence is really a multimedia project. It is an upcoming documentary, an anthology, a book filled with the stories of other victims and survivors. It's also the call to really promote more social responsibility around posting and sharing. And so we will do that through social media, and a website with resources and support and collaborative efforts. And my biggest goal through this, Hannah, is that when the documentary is complete, is to allow people throughout the United States and even throughout the world to host screenings in their own communities where people can come together and watch the film, but then open the floor for dialogue and open conversation with other lawmakers, legislators, advocates, victims, so we can all work for more peaceful solutions around this to support, but then also calling for stricter law enforcement and stricter punishment for perpetrators. So it really is at the end of the day going to be what I see as a beautiful educational tool in response to this growing epidemic around cyberbullying and cyber harassment. And I get to do the things that I know best to do, and that's to turn to video and to turn to social media to really promote this.
Yeah, I love it. And so if someone wanted to be part of the 50 Shades of Silence movement, how can they become part of this and make a contribution and help move it forward? Because, you know, this isn't just Darieth's story. It's not just the story of the women in the United States. It is a global story. And when you say that you've gathered survivors, this is an important word, because some people don't survive it. And what we want is to ensure that more people
have the dignity, more people feel like there's life after circumstances like that, and it doesn't have to break your brand. It can actually make your brand. And all of these things. So how can others join the movement? How can they create, if they wanted to bring it into their country, the 50 Shades of Silence, and do that screening and get people engaged, open up forums, how can they do that?
Yeah, definitely. 50shadesofsilence.com, and that's 50. So it's the 50 shadesofsilence.com. And it's a beautiful website with resources and information if in fact you are a victim or a survivor, or you know someone, which is really my primary goal for the website.
Yeah.
We have a Patreon site set up for fundraising, for crowdfunding. I'm really excited about this piece because documentaries are very expensive to shoot, and it really is going to take a collaborative effort from supporters who see the vision around this, who would love to support it with their financial contributions. With Patreon, people get to decide on a monthly contribution. It could be from $5 to $500, but we're going to take them along the journey. They'll get to see the behind the scenes footage. They'll be involved with some of the decision making. So we're literally creating hundreds of hundreds of associate producers who are patrons in this exclusive community. So the link to contribute is at the website, 50shadesofsilence.com. We also are on all social media. So on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at 50 Shades of Silence. And this is truly about helping people to promote more social responsibility around posting and sharing. It really does start with when we see an image or we see content or something that comes up that looks like cyber harassment or cyberbullying, to put a stop to it. We don't send it and share it. If anything, we're brave enough to report it. And to get it stopped, because the person who's behind that could in fact be silenced and hurting and ashamed and really do need our voices. So this is a collaborative voice. And if you're interested at all in being a part of the documentary or a part of the anthology, or someone who is, then I invite you to send them out to the website as well. So contributions can be made there. Support just by simply sharing the message would be much appreciated. We're all impacted by this in some way. In fact, 50% of online users say that they have had some form of harassment or cyber abuse. And in my opinion, I think this is only going to grow because we're always all on the internet. And it is truly an international situation. It's not just, because you're on your computer online. We're on the internet, and that's international. So it takes all of our voices, which is why we call this a global movement.
I love that. And so what I wanted to, because, we all have a responsibility, and I love what you said about not sharing, because I see people do it a lot. It's like someone shaming someone else, and then it goes around like wildfire. We can all put a stop to the bullying. It is bullying. I was really sad when I looked at the news and I saw this little girl, she's probably 10 or 11, committed suicide because of bullying. And so, it's really not fun, and it's not fascinating, and it's not cool to share and promote that type of thing, however fascinating you may think it is. And I know that the women in this community are not the type of women who will be sharing or promoting that type of behavior, because it's not on,
Yeah, it is so, Hannah, it's so sad and so alarming, the number of young people, and there are adults, but the number of young people who feel so victimized and helpless and silenced through this that they take their lives. And because shaming is, we could talk for hours about what shame and humiliation does to the human spirit. And how people lose all sense of self and self-worth when they believe that they've been shamed, and they feel humiliated, and that they feel as though they have no power.
Yes.
And it's really hard, I think, for people who've never been in that situation to understand it. Yeah. But if you've ever been hurt by someone before, if you've ever been made to feel small and belittled or attacked or abused in any particular way, then you know exactly at least that sense of feeling. When it happens online, it is even more embarrassing because there's no way to control it. It's not just a conversation that's occurred between the victim and the abuser. This is something that spreads like wildfire in minutes, and it can be so disheartening for the victim. And they feel as if they have no place to turn, because everywhere they look, they see either images about them or the bully making fun of them. And then when the other voices chime in, the weight becomes very heavy.
Yeah.
That's, in my opinion, part of the reason why some children and some people without a strong sense of self really clam up, really close up, and either become depressed or suicidal. We can't have this happen.
Yeah.
We can't have this happen. Not in this day and age. And it is our responsibility to support other people, particularly if they're people within our own family or friends or own community that we know this is happening to.
Yeah.
That's why 50 Shades of Silence exists.
No, it's such a great movement, and I really encourage everyone listening. It may not have happened to you, or maybe it happened to someone you know, but get on board with this movement, because you have a voice and you can make a difference. And so I want to ask Darieth, because people experience visibility challenges from all types of ways. And you said 50 Shades of Silence, and this is really apt because silence can be caused in 50 different ways, right? And so what are some of the reasons why people are afraid to be out there with their brand that's really impacting their ability to be more successful in their business?
You said something which I'm going to use, so thank you. And that's that this could either break your brand or build your brand. And many of us, we all face personal challenges, and and oftentimes some of those challenges are huge, whether it's the death of a loved one, bankruptcy, sickness or illness. I mean, there's a variety of different things that can totally throw us off base. And when you're building a business that has a brand, if this is something that is exposed, if you will, or becomes so much bigger than you can handle, it feels even more like you want to hide, right? And not say anything. But it's almost like you need to get in front of it. And if there's any way that you can be out in front of it and talk about it and expose it for what it is and be authentic and real, there are other people who have faced this as well.
Yes.
Think about, I don't care, again, no matter what the business is that you're building, when those personal challenges come up, and they will, it's really incumbent upon us to figure out how to continue to remain on our successful paths, or get onto your successful path, and use this while you're healing through it, and take the time to heal through it. This does not mean that you should just pummel through it and not find the resources and cry if you need to and feel the way that you need to, but use it as a stepping stone for yourself. Use it as the opportunity to support you in some way. And if it means making it a part of your story, if you're a coach or a speaker or someone who really is about living your brand, use it. Allow it to be the voice and the message that you want to provide to your particular audience. They will hear you, right? And they'll trust that you two are human, and that if you've survived this, they can survive it as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I know that this is what you coach people on, and someone listening might say easier said than done. I don't know how to. So how does a visibility coach really help someone like that? Like, why should someone going through that situation get that support, that accountability partner who can guide them? Someone like you who's been through it, who's had this life challenge, and we spoke about it from the beginning, and so I know I've seen your journey through it and your evolution and growth, and so much light that has come out of the darkness of this all. And so how do you guide someone through that, even in your own programs?
So part of this is truly embracing the darkness when it happens. You cannot, you've got to allow yourself what I call the alchemy. You need to experience this sense of, feeling crucified, if you will. And that's really what I felt like. And to whatever degree of victimhood naturally takes place, part of that is the healing. When we cut ourselves, there's some bleeding, and then we need the scab to happen, because that's a part of healing. So let's not pretend that something's not happening. And if it means that you need to cry and scream and do that, allow yourself that. And then ask for, and I said this earlier, there are two things. How can this be for me and not to me? And who is it that I need to become to get through this period, to allow the alchemy to happen, the change, so that you can get away from and step off the crucifixion, if you will, the cross of the crucifixion, and literally rise. Feel yourself be resurrected in a new you. And visibility, in my opinion, is the same thing. It's like coming out of the darkness and stepping into the light. And part of it is moving through the darkness and allowing that to happen, opening the doors, and then stepping into a more visible moment. You need that alchemy to happen so that when you get on the other side, you have been transformed and you know that you're ready to do that. When I work with clients, for instance, if they're going through some major thing, it's, are we going to use this? Are we going to allow this to block us, to stop us, to keep us stuck and stalled? Or are we going to figure out the best ways to transform through this? The best ways to get support, and what are the next practical steps? So first we look at what's happening, allowing that to happen, and then look at what is it going to mean if we let this block us and stop us? Or can we truly get through this, or get around this, or dissolve it in some ways? And then the next step is to really look at strategizing. Okay, then what's next? Based on this, how can I rebrand myself if I need to? What do I need to do? What do I need to put into place structurally to support me in this new place? You know, who do I need to bring on? Who do I need to counsel with? What steps do I need to put into place? Then you really want to look at the, and this is where most people want to go immediately when they look at visibility, is they want to look at online and offline marketing, right? Immediately you want to be on camera. You need to get there, but you need a solid plan to getting there. So what better ways can you market yourself both online and offline? And those are really important, because not every way is going to make sense for you, but you should definitely choose the tools that are going to get you in front of your ideal client or customer in the best visible way. And then the final point is then just figuring out if, I mean, obviously in business, since we're talking about business, there needs to be some form of monetization. So now how do we monetize this new message that's been sculpted into our life, or that we've resculpted, that we've now put a strategic plan into place that we're now marketing? At the end of the day, what ways can it best be monetized? So it's, that formula is one that I use, whether this is someone who's going through some major life-changing event like I went through, or just really looking at, you know, really helping their brand become more of an influencer in the marketplace and be as visible as possible.
Amazing, amazing. I really love that. And so you said that, so it's really, there is a step and there's an order to it. And it's really acknowledging, as you said, because I think people have the tendency to think, do the spiritual bypass, as we call it, you know, not really deal with the pain, not acknowledge it. I'm just going to get over it. It's not a process of that, as Darieth really articulated. It's really being real. This is happening, acknowledging it, acknowledging everything that you're feeling, and then going through the process that you mentioned. Now, one of the things you talked about is, as a visibility expert, I know that one of your core areas of expertise is speaking and workshop platforms, our speaking and workshop platforms. Now, you have something called the workshop formula. Now that a person has identified, they've gone through the fire, they're ready to go out there again, how can one use workshops and speaking to really build your brand platform and reach ideal clients?
I believe that workshops, retreats, VIP days, boot camps, live events are a perfect way to not only engage your ideal clients and customers in a very intimate setting, but also to better connect and bring out whatever it is that you're looking to. Now, this is particularly helpful for coaches and authors who have material and content that they're interested in sharing with others. And I believe, internet marketing is huge, and there are lots of people that are finding all of their best clients, and they're making a ton of money online, and you should definitely be pursuing that. But there's also the great opportunity that some of us are missing right in our own backyards to connect with people face to face in live events and workshops. And they're not hard to put together. the workshop formula, which I've put together as a 5-step system that people can use to rinse and repeat. I help you develop the content, the marketing strategy, so that you can plan, promote, and profit from hosting your workshops and live events.
Mm-hmm.
I also believe that it's one of the best ways when you've spent time in a room connecting with individuals for a period of time that they become to know, like, and trust you. And that's what building true relationships are about. Mm-hmm. That's why people choose one coach over another coach to work with. And so if they've spent 4 or 5 hours connecting with you live, face to face, it's a pretty reasonable assumption that they may then choose to go on and work with you further in your other coaching programs. So I'm a huge advocate of that. And you can get the details of the workshop formula at workshopformula.com. I've got a beautiful 3-part video series that gives you some of the nuts and bolts around it. Mm-hmm. And so that would be really great. I also, Hannah, we didn't talk about this, but if I could, sure. I'd love anyone who's interested in actually taking the full course for the workshop formula is offer them a discount for watching this with you. So if you use Hannah Fitz, you'll save 10% off the full course. So just in the promo box, just put in Hannah Fitz, and once you decide to enroll into the full course that's jam-packed with a lot more information and resources and tools and training, you'll be able to save 10%.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for this wonderful gift to our listeners. So look, you're getting ways to get your platform going, but I want to just backtrack a little bit because something came to mind as we were speaking about the workshops and really getting visible and as a way of making money and becoming successful. But we spoke a bit off camera about even in this situation, because a lot of people think when they're going through a challenging time that their business needs to slow down, or their business won't be a success during times like this and everything needs to come to a halt because this needs to take over everything. And you shared something with me that I think will motivate and inspire our listeners. Tell us what has happened during this. You've been going through this ordeal, but still with your business, something else has been happening.
Yeah, my business has actually grown considerably, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for the clients that I've had the tremendous pleasure to coach. And really, it wasn't from the exposure of 50 Shades. It's brand new. Literally this week. So in terms of the launch, but it's what I believe what happened was that I allowed myself the time to heal, but I also remained very focused on continuing to build my business. I could not afford to let that crumble. I mean, I've got to pay the bills. I have things that are going on. I have big desires. And so I chose in prayer, in meditation, in journaling to not only release the pain and really move through as gracefully as I could what I was facing in terms of this cyber rape and cyber harassment, but to also focus as heavily as I could on being of service to others. And continuing to show up and continuing to be visible. I have to say that I had a spring that was filled with multiple speaking events and lots of travel. And I experienced some of my highest income in those months simply because I was remaining very visible. And I've got to tell you, I wanted to do nothing but to hide. And there were many nights that I came home and pulled the covers up and cried night after night. But I knew that I could not just stop my business, and I could not stop being of service to the people who entrusted me to coach them and to help them grow their businesses. And what I found was that I could take a stand for for myself, that I could, in fact, continue to build the business while I moved through this very challenging time, and not let it disrupt the flow that was already in place. And so I want to encourage anyone who's going through any challenging time in their life to not let go of the goals and the dreams that they have. That in fact, this is more of a time to focus heavily, to switch focus if you need to. And I think that's what really happened, is that instead of me focusing on the things that I had absolutely no control of, the attorneys, his constant threats, there was nothing I could do about that. Instead, I got up every morning and I focused on how can I be the very best that I can be today? How can I be of the best service? How can I show up and be visible in spite of wanting to hide and wanting to be quiet. And as a result, my business continued to grow. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that I trusted that intuitive hit. We started talking about that earlier, but that I trusted that that was what I needed to do. And not just to let everything to go, go to pieces. And I know that happens. I've seen it happen for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You can't afford to do that. And you've got to stay focused on the plans that you have in place while you also focus on handling whatever the personal challenge is.
Absolutely. A lot of women tend to go into that either or mindset. And I love what you said about taking the stand for the and, because this is what we can run a business and handle everything else in our personal lives. Very apt. And so I want you to know, ladies, this isn't just, visibility coaching. This is high performance information right here. Successful people show up no matter what. You're learning this from a 3-time Emmy nominated and award-winning expert. And so I invite you to really ponder Darieth's words seriously. Take in what you've learned, because it is she shared some powerful words of wisdom, what I like to call the pearls of wisdom. So Darieth, I know that you mentioned the gift of the 10% off for our listeners. You also have another gift, which is a free 30-minute session with you.
Absolutely. And anyone who's interested in talking more about their own challenges in terms of still continuing to build their brand and business, I have a 30-minute free clarity session. And you can simply go out to my calendar. You can go to DariethChisolm.com/clarity. Yeah. So I'm assuming you're going to be giving all of these links. Yes. So DariethChisolm.com/clarity, and grab a spot on my calendar. And I'm happy to help you look at ways that you can kick your fear in the face, drop all the drama, and really build a brand that attracts your ideal clients and customers and allows you to stand up in the marketplace as a more visible leader.
So Darieth, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you here today. I know that our listeners have been inspired and you've given some great information. I invite everyone to join the 50 Shades of Silence movement. It's for all women. I feel like when we stand together, when we stand with each other, we are more powerful and we can create a greater impact in the world. And so I invite you to remember that despite anything, you are a lustrous pearl. So go out and build your world-class brand. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.